that tub deck there with the drop-in tub, eating up a lot of space. First thing that you kind of see too going through that door into the water closet is the small outdated shower. On the next slide, got a close-up looking at the carpet, which these days isn't really a typical installation in a bathroom. Close-up of that tub deck as well. On the next slide, you see the vanity with the full glass mirror, spreading the full length and height. And then as far as storage, we've got the two cabinets with drawers. Not a lot of storage, a little bit of clutter on the countertops. So a little bit of backstory on the client. So it was a husband and wife. The wife actually grew up in Japan. She really wanted the true Japanese bathing experience. While the husband really, Western style and wanted to. One of the design difficulties here was merging those styles together and making sure that it was cohesive with the existing surrounding rooms. Here you can see on the floor plan that we have removed that tub deck, reoriented a new freestanding tub. There's essentially that space has turned into kind of a wet room area. You'll see in the pictures coming up that we've got a linear drain there. Moving over to the water closet, we removed that shower over on the back wall and incorporated some nice storage. Kept the toilet pretty much where it was. And then over on the vanity, we've got some recessed medicine cabinets. Another design challenge was the height difference between the two clients. The husband was over 6 foot and the wife was under 5 foot. You can see in the images coming up to achieve that. Here for the door, we actually converted that to a pocket door. And to keep with the design on the other side of that door, we kept that white panel, and on the other side, the bathroom side, we actually made that wood, which we'll see in the images. So here you can see this quite of a transformation. One thing that I really love here that's going on as far as a visual is the elements of contrast with the white, the dark tile, and the wood. You can see that cedar soaking tub for the wife's request. Japanese, tradition is really shower, rinse off, and then get into that soaking tub. But if you quickly are on the go, you can still shower, have that quick showering experience. And then we've actually got a linear drain that you can see back there tucked behind that lower bench. And then here's another close-up. You can see that linear drain. We've got the 3 windows there. Just some lovely contrast going on throughout the whole space, creating a lot of interest. Close-up of the tub. Staged pretty nicely, I would say. We've got some recessed niches on the left side we use for decorative elements, or you want to do some candles, soap, bottles, things like that. Some creative storage solutions. The vanity, we actually ended up dropping or lowering the overall vanity height to accommodate the shorter client. And then as far as the recessed medicine cabinets, the mirrors that you're seeing, those are actually higher in height, so that when both the clients are standing at the vanity, it functions well for both of them. We've got some really rich cabinetry going on here. Some beautiful quartzite countertops that's continued from the vanity to this area, and some open display cabinets where you can display items or you can. And then moving on to getting started.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Charisse, and we're going to start talking about kind of the motivation of while you're thinking about doing your bathroom. We're going to look through some of the logistics and pre-planning ideas that go into
what's the sanitary
planning of a space.
Remember you had those relatives.
Identifying your pain points. So there's lots of reasons people do a remodel. Sometimes the family may have outgrown it. Sometimes the materials have just become outdated. They just don't like them anymore. Or we've had a life change in the family, maybe medical. or aging issues that are requiring us to make some accommodation in those spaces. Next slide. It's really helpful for us as a design company or the designer to work with you to understand what your wish list is. This can be an exciting opportunity in your project to really kind of think of everything that is currently not there. And that can be everything from, say, better ventilation, a lot more storage, outlets in the cabinets, cleanability, all of that. We may not be able to get all of those elements in the eventual final design, but it's really good to at least have the designer be aware of what your priorities are and kind of having a conversation. If you're doing this with a partner, spouse, etc., sometimes having separate lists can be a good way to start a conversation where we think we're on the same page, but we find out maybe we're not. Or what is one person's priority might fall pretty low to the other partner. Next slide. There's great resources online nowadays to collect ideas. House is a wonderful one, and all the designers at Neil Kelly have our own pages as well. So once you start working with a designer, you can create an idea book together and start sharing ideas that way. And there's a comment section to even say what you like about that particular image. Sometimes it's maybe not the specifics, but a general feel, or gee, I love this dishwasher, I love this pendant light, love this island configuration. Books and magazines can be also great ways to get inspired or kind of visualize. Also learning about new materials, Pinterest, Instagram, those are all great ways to start seeing some images and learning about different products and design solutions. What I do caution clients about, though, is don't feel that you have to have done all this research. That's the design professional's job. We are completely capable of helping you get inspired and bringing you ideas and images, and really to work collaboratively with the designer and not come with such rigid ideas that maybe we miss opportunities of new ways of thinking or doing things that are maybe you hadn't even thought about. And when we talk with you, we're going to really want to understand what is your timeline, what's your investment that you're going to be comfortable with on this project. And I do tell clients that that's often different than when we say what's your budget. We're not asking necessarily what you think the project's going to cost. We're asking what do you feel comfortable investing. And then we can design to that budget. And setting those priorities, as we're designing, there might be things that, it might be nice to have in-floor heat or heated towel bar, but maybe we want to put those as options so that we don't, we can make a decision once we have a firm number on all the other design decisions, and then have kind of a menu of design options. So getting connected, we do offer virtual meetings, drawings. We can do everything through Zoom or Teams, whatever you feel comfortable with. We do 3D modeling, so it's really helpful for our clients to really understand and see what they're getting in their project as that design continues to develop.
Designer, she's low budget.
Scope of work and your material selection are probably the single biggest impact of the budget. You can pick tile that's
really
$3 a square foot, and you
Isn't
can
it?
pick it at $300 a
Light look
square
funny?
foot.
The scope and
really
material.
It's a bathroom, but how do you get to
And this is where the
bathtub?
designer can really help you and help you
I think
navigate
it's
all the
wider on the
choices,
left side.
understanding what's truly a unique product, and maybe
Looks
we
weird.
need to spend a little bit more
Doesn't
money
it?
there,
Mhm.
but maybe there's other
It's
products
not
that we
ours.
can get that same
Huh?
look, but
Okay,
save on
almost
the
looks like a
cost.
kitchen thing in the middle.
Yeah.
So we're going to be breaking this down into working with the space. Are we working with what you have? Do we need to get more space? Maybe seal it from an adjacent room? What's your personal style? Does your house is this the final room in a house that's kind of the only thing that needs to be done? Or are we getting a whole new makeover for this house and saying, I've lived in this house for 10 years, I've never had it how I want it, and now I'm going to start. Products and materials, we're going to look at some of those, and then as Rob has already started with us today, we're going to look at a few case studies of examples of projects that we have completed here at Neil Kelly. So there's different types of bathrooms. We try to break it down because each bathroom is going to have maybe different priorities. For example, a powder bath is usually only going to be like a sink and a toilet, and it's going to be one that probably most guests would have access to, unlike hall baths or master baths or primary baths, as we're calling them.
See, the toilet's right next to the thing.
Are more private. They're usually further into the home. So
Yeah, that's just
hall
what
or
they do
guest
now.
bath usually have a tubs and or shower, toilet, and a sink. And then the primary bathroom is
Yeah, you can have ours like that, except for the
usually the
fireplace.
largest. It's probably the most used, and usually maybe by a couple. And it can have many elements from just the day-to-day
Ooh, that
functions
fancy,
of getting
but-
ready, maybe the place you go to unwind and relax, as we're seeing in this slide with the fireplace.
Toilet must be right down here, so you can see where it's cut out.
Really kind of a home retreat,
Down on this end?
and lots
Or
of
the
bells
shower
and
or
whistles
something?
available to make it a really special space. In a bathroom, one thing we tend to think about when designing a space that's going to work well is we think in work zones. So we've got your vanity, grooming, and kind of wellness
How do you
areas. So
open
as
that
you see
cabinet?
on that upper left
one?
middle slide
One
or
in
photograph,
the bathtub.
you've got like a grooming station, maybe makeup application.
Oh, it's a sliding
Not
one.
all
Oh, it
bathrooms
is,
maybe
yeah.
have space for that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just a simple vanity that we really need to be packing a lot in there. Storage is a constant battle for bathrooms, as we all know, but there's lots of great options out there nowadays and creative design solutions for giving you lots of storage. And then, of course, bathing. What is the bathing experience that you want? Are you a tub person? Are you a shower person? Maybe you're both, but they kind of, one has a day-to-day
Storage in
function,
that closet's
the other one
nice.
is your weekend retreat.
Yeah.
Can you go back, please? And then dressing and closets and laundry. We're seeing more and more for people to really incorporate laundry storage, whether that's in a hamper in a closet, a cabinet, or laundry chutes, or even bringing those spaces. You might have a primary laundry down in the basement or on the main floor, but we are seeing them done in the primary bathrooms as well, as a way to have it closer to the day-to-day use. Next slide, please.
Put the washing machine
Work
in the closet.
zones. So the first one is I'm going to go into a little more detail about your vanity and grooming. So
Each
here you
bedroom
can
is
see
its
in
own
this
little
floor
mini
plan
washer and dryer. So the
the
kids just let them do their own
amount
laundry.
sink. Well, there's two sinks. So in some ways, that's going to steal a little bit of your solid surface on your countertop. One thing I do talk to clients about is, do we really need two sinks? Could we have one sink?
No.
Do the users
We need
use
two.
both every morning around the same time?
Yep.
Yes.
Sometimes people have different levels of cleanliness or organization, and they definitely want their own sink. That's all part of our conversation. And storage, this bathroom, one of the definite priorities was incorporating more storage. So we put a lot more storage in the vanity, and then even tucked some up above the toilet in the water closet as well. And then bathing. So as I said, some of us are bath people, some of us are shower people. Different homes have different opportunities for where that bath can go. If you're not somebody that takes a bath, if you don't like that experience, or maybe have a hot tub instead, maybe we want to just focus on the shower, and put in a hall bath, a smaller bath for children or bathing, those kind of less frequent or maybe shorter time span of use. This particular bathroom, we can do both, and you'll see here that the tub really becomes kind of a sculptural element and is right adjacent to a separate shower. Water closets, some people like to have a separate room for the water closet and or toilet room.
Water closet?
I'll use those
Toilet.
interchangeably.
Water
It
closet's kind
depends
of
what
a
your
European
particular
term.
preference
Yeah, but
is.
do they have it
It's
all
how much real estate you
highlighted
have
in the
that
closet?
bathroom. Walls are
No,
4.5
that's not what she
inches
means,
thick, so
though.
can we make that maybe a little bit smaller by maybe putting a glass partition, giving semi-transparency and some privacy, or do we really need a solid room with a door? Next slide. So small spaces, there's a lot of creative design solutions that we can do to make what are small spaces give the illusion or just
It's a
feel
mirror on the wall.
larger. I love the way
It's a
that this
mirror?
countertop at
Oh,
this
a countertop.
vanity goes right into a pretty small shower that if that glass wasn't
You mean in the
there,
shower?
Oh,
that
that's
shower
glass,
would
okay.
feel pretty claustrophobic, at least to me. But by bringing that countertop edge in, it provides us
Oh,
that
that's the
certain
countertop.
or ledge for razors.
Oh, yeah, see it on the
toiletries.
top
Mhm, you see the
photo?
glass.
It
You
goes
have a
in.
little bit of
Yeah.
illumination coming from the vanity, and even additional window light that's just past that. If somebody was not yet. If somebody was concerned about privacy in there are different glass options as well, so you can have different levels of transparency as well. Next slide. Pocket doors are a great opportunity to really save space, to not have that door swing go all the way into a bathroom. The other thing I would mention is toilets. Also, there's tankless or in-wall tank toilets that can help really save 8 to 9 inches in depth for those really small water closets or spaces. Floating sinks, there's a ton of sinks out there nowadays that can get really small and, kind of rethink our idea of
Where's the
what we
sink?
can
It's right
fit
there
into
underneath
a
the faucet,
small
but it's
little
just really
hall
small.
bath or hall
It's like the
bath.
ones that sit.
It doesn't
Maybe
go
it's a
in.
little
Well, you
tiny
can't see it.
room
It's just
right
really
off
white.
the kitchen or something that's maybe off of a mudroom.
And
So
it's
as people
instant
come
hot
in,
water thing. It
it's
looks like
not meant to
underneath of it.
spend a lot of
Yeah.
time in,
I
but
would
it
not
lets
want
you
to look
do
at all
kind of
that
the
underneath
basic
there.
business. So style. This can be a really fun one for clients, but it can also be overwhelming. There are so many products out there today. You look at them, think, I don't know where to even start. So I usually ask clients, have you been to showrooms? How did it make you feel? Do you want to go to every showroom or maybe a few showrooms? Do you want me to start with maybe 2 to 3 pallets of materials and then go from there? And they're like, I don't want to step foot in the showroom. It's just too overwhelming. Well, at Neil Kelly, we're happy to work with you in whatever way you find comfortable.
It's true.
And
We can
style
start hitting
is
showrooms and
something that
stuff.
can be represented in color.
You know.
It can be very permanent and built
I don't know
in.
where they
Like
are.
on the left, we've got glass
Go
tile,
down
very
Portland.
distinct
Yeah.
colors that are built in, and removing them or changing them would be a pretty big deal. Versus on the right, we've got a pretty neutral space that we've used decor like mirrors, lighting, towels, and a wall color that's pretty easy to change out as trends or tastes change over time. Texture in a bathroom, whether it's a very lots of vibrancy and color or fairly monochromatic, texture can be a great way to think in terms of adding visual interest to a space, breaking up, say, a glass wall with some etched glass, some real creative solutions on sinks that give some neat texture, organic materials, glass, porcelain tiles, and ceramic tiles have some awesome textures available that can really provide kind of an accent, and you'll see a great example of that in one of our before and after photographs that we'll look at. Okay, so I think we're going to break for our first Q&A.
Yeah,
And
thanks,
you're
Therese
welcome.
and Rob. That was great, and just what a ton of information. And so we got to see a case
I
study,
have a question.
and then we got to see quite a bit
Wow.
about
Do you?
bathroom design principles.
Okay.
So there have been a few questions that have come through,
you
and we had one
you
from
can-
Roy in Seattle. He's asking about different countertop heights. What's
Give a
appropriate for
thumbs up
countertop
and
heights?
then
Rob,
they'll
do you have any
answer quicker. More
ideas for
people
that?
are interested in it.
In a bathroom, again, it's personal preference depending on your height, right? What's comfortable for you. But 36 is standard. But you can go a little bit lower if needed. I wouldn't recommend going any higher than the standard 36.
And so we had another question come in. Looks like this one was from Portland, Susan in Portland, asking about walk-in showers and what do we need to not have a door, and then how about partitions between the water closet area and the vanity?
Sound like you.
Yeah,
Both
so
of those questions.
walk-in showers can be great if you don't want a door of any kind. You want to have kind of a minimum, I would say a rule of thumb of about 42 by 42 or 36 by 42, so that you really can, with some sort of partition, at least part way, limit the the amount of splatter or water that would go to those other spaces outside of the water closet, or I'm sorry, outside of the shower. Curbless can be great, but you do have a little bit more expense because the entire room has to basically be treated as a shower pan. The other thing I would say is that thinking about your threshold and what is its purpose, why do you want the sort of walk-in shower, because you have considerations like heat loss and some other elements that we would want to be sure to think about, and selecting a tile so that if those spaces beyond the shower did get wet, they're not going to become real slippery.
Good. A couple more real quick. Susie asks, I'm sorry. Is Neil Kelly capable of helping out with the entire project, including removing the walls? Rob?
Yes, absolutely. We are. When we come and we arrive, we have that consultation. We really can have a conversation about that scope of work. But really, being anything residential, construction, remodeling, Neil Kelly is got you covered.
Okay, good. So we're going to get moving. We do have a question that we'll work in here. It's they're looking for shower solutions that are not just plain white tile. They want better cleanability. But we'll address that as we move forward. I know that we have a lot of details to get to here, so Therese, go ahead and keep us moving.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Okay, so products and materials, they really can be the biggest way that you put your individual mark or taste on that space. But it's important to think about that those products and materials are not just beautiful. They need to function. They need to hold up over time. There are tiles and materials that are going to be rated for walls or floors or showers, wet space. There's also size of grout. So when we specify a tile, for example, we can do a very tight, basically a butt joint between the tiles. We can do a 1/4 inch. We can do 1/8 inch. Grout has come a long way, but it's still something that is a cleaning issue that you're going to need to be cleaning. Wait, can we not go back yet? Thank you. Somebody just asked, as Matt was saying, about the options besides just a white tile. There's a lot of options out there. There's large format tiles, which can come in as big as 36 by 42. So you could have a pretty minimal, just like a grout line every 36 inches. There's also solid surface materials, things like Choreograph by Kohler, Swanstone, other solid just sheets of material. Crossville even makes some sheets of basically porcelain that are nice and thin, so they're about a 3/8 to 1/4 inch thick, not taking too much side width.
I think that's what
It's kind of like what our shower is.
Once you put place on the
Our
wall.
shower's not.
And then you want to be
You don't
thinking
really
about the cabinet's durability. This is going to
grout.
have steam and water in the space. So we want to be thinking about the right cabinets, whether it's going to be wood or painted. And the cabinets that we sell are all going to be a factory baked on finish, which is going to really hold up and be durable over time, even with all of those water and steam in that bathroom space. And then last thing I would say is in countertops, thinking about the durability and the use of that. Cabinets is a big one. There's lots of door styles. There's even within the world of cabinets, different types of cabinets. So in our showrooms, we can show you the difference of, say, an inset door, which is a little more traditional, a European, which is what this photograph is, where the door and door face actually fully go over the box itself. This kind of cabinet is really the most popular because it allows for the maximum use of width and heights in a cabinet. So if we're thinking of pullouts, accessories, we want to maximize that function, especially in a bathroom where space is so limited.
That's
And
interesting.
there are everything from painted, textures, laminates, woods, and all kinds of door styles. And our showroom is a great place to see those. Next slide, storage. So storage over the last, I'd say, decade have really just ballooned in terms of what your options are. Electrical outlets, in cabinets, Even this one right under a sink. Before there wasn't a lot of sink or storage options under a sink that could be small,
Yeah,
for
don't cut out the
smaller
top
items
drawer.
that we would typically see in a bathroom. Versus nowadays we've
To clean that
got some great
space
ideas
that you
for
always
that.
lose from the
And
stupid.
then for plugging in hair dryers, curling iron in spaces that are going to have stainless steel, so they're going to be safe and not have fire damage if they get real hot. Next slide, countertops. So countertops, what I love about this photograph is even though the cabinets are set on the countertop, you'll notice right underneath there is a little platform of the quartz that the countertop kind of jumps up and catches the wall cabinet. So if water were to get on there around the base or pool, it's not going to affect the cabinet as much. Countertops, like I said, quartz is very popular. It's a man-made product. It's made out of recycled natural
Interesting,
stones,
putting the
and
cabinets
different
on
glass,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
put
having
into like an
just the
acrylic
mirror.
that's
They just have a center sink though.
sealed. So what people love
Yeah.
about it is even if you
Yeah,
have
you have two
acidity
mirrors.
or cleansers
3
or
cabinets,
say
whatever.
makeup like fingernail polish, etc., it's not going to damage this material. Some of your other natural stones will. Any solid surface material, whether it's natural stone, quartz, or even your synthetic materials like your Corian, Swanstone, LG Hymax, Wilson Art, those can be with an undermount sink because they're a solid surface material. If you go and say laminate, for example, if you can't do an undermount sink, and laminate used to be kind of thought of as the go-to inexpensive material. The solid surface, say if you check out Wilson Art, solid surface, you can still do the undermount sink and it's going to be at the same price point of a laminate. And there's lots of edge details available that we get to specify as well. And if you want to, you can even approve the slab layout, what you see when it's installed. Next slide. So surfaces, flooring is obviously kind of a really big one. It's not only a lot of what we see, but it's also can be a great decorative element. But if it's not done correctly, it can be slippery. So we want to be sure we're selecting flooring that meets the slip ratings for bathrooms and wet spaces. There's lots of grout sizes that can also help with making it less slippery over time, and cleanability. This mosaic tile is stunningly beautiful, but cleaning it, those grout lines over time, it's not always maybe going to look that beautiful. And thinking about transitions, etc. So wall surfaces, as I said before, you can do tile, large format tiles, small mosaic tiles. You can also do these acrylic sheets, porcelain sheets by different brands out there, and really, there's just a lot of options. You can even do tile maybe on one accent wall, and then sheets on the other walls. And there's a great example in our Portland showroom of that, where we've actually blended the two. So the back wall is our accent, and then the side walls or something can be the solid. So at least reducing the amount of cleanable or cleaning the grout. And tile and other materials, here you can see a 12 by 36 tile. It's really kind of covering everything, but on the accent walls as kind of a focal point to break up the monochromatic color scheme in here, they actually did some reclaimed lumber that is cedar and juniper. So it's still going to hold up great in the bathroom, even if it gets wet, but it adds a nice contrast and some texture to make this bathroom give it its kind of own unique character. And sinks, as I've mentioned, undermount sinks is really for most people nowadays kind of a must-have. Cleaning that lip on a sink and, if you've got hairs or what have you, is just a real pain.
Yep.
So we're seeing a lot of people say, I have to have an undermount sink. Even in the world of undermount sinks, there's your basic white functional, and then there's some really gorgeous metal sinks that can be more of an accent for, say, a powder bathroom. You probably wouldn't put this sink into a bathroom that you have high use, teeth brushing, etc. for two reasons. One, with all that decoration, it's going to get caught in the metal texture. Also, it doesn't have the overflow, so drainage is going to be fairly slow. So if we're shaving or something, draining that's going to take a while and be pretty unattractive when you're done. Pedestal sinks are great options if we maybe need to think about storage below the sink, or maybe like in this bathroom, this was a kid's bathroom, and we had our storage put in a cabinet to the right, and really the kids were very young and little, and putting a little step stool so that they could reach it as they grew over time was a priority, and they didn't want a lot of clutter, and this bathroom wasn't very big,
Very
so we
functional for a
wanted
kid's
to
bathroom.
be kind of
Is it?
sparse with the space that we have.
Horrible color.
And some pedestal sinks have a base. Can you go back there one slide real quick? This one is wall mounted. The pedestal sinks can be both wall mounted and have a base where they sit on the floor. And then wall mounted sinks, there's a great picture here with, it's wall mounted, but it does have a frame underneath that is the support structure, looking a little more classic, kind of period, with early century, if you've got an older home that you want to match those historic details. And vessel sinks, people love the look of them. Typically, if you're doing a vessel sink, the things to think about is what is your countertop height? Because depending on the height of the sink, say if you have a 34-inch countertop, but that vessel sink is 8 inches tall, how is that going to feel for washing your face? The other consideration is what is the height and projection of the faucet into that sink. So if we do bend over to wash our face, is that
Get her head on the sink.
Is it tall enough to clear the sink? And what is the draining ability? So a lot of the pedestal sinks don't have an overflow drain, so they don't drain particularly quickly. The other thing is if they're real flat on the bottom, they will drain fairly slow because they aren't being helped by gravity. So bathtubs, your built-in, kind of your basic bathtub is, we call this also an alcove bathtub, where it's, say 2 to 3 sides are enclosed, and then you typically will have the front skirted by the same, all integral of the same tub. And then deck mounted, which is also referred to as a drop-in sinks, tubs, which are great for, if you wanted to change it out, for example, let's say in 10 years you wanted to change out the tub, unlike a large tub like this, which you can also do as an undermount, you'd have to pull out all of that surface on the countertop of that deck surface. These tubs can be great. They can offer lots of bells and whistles, heated. They come in acrylic, porcelain, cast iron. One thing to think about is the heat that's going to be lost. So if you're somebody that likes to bring in a book and sit in the tub for 3 hours, you're probably going to want a cast iron tub or get the heat element in that tub so that your water stays warm. They do take up a lot of real estate though, but that's the negative, but the positive is they provide you a deck surface around the tub for beverages, books, towels. Even as aging in place, getting in and out of the tub you can sit there, kind of swing your legs over, so it can be a little bit easier for aging.
Storage.
Freestanding tubs can be a great sculptural element. There's a huge range in cost and designs and what you're looking for. They aren't necessarily less expensive than, say, a drop-in where you even have all the framing and the deck. Because I've seen some of these tubs be $10,000. But again, looking at the durability, the height, stepping in and out of that, is it a 1 or 2 person tub? In this
That one
particular
looks
tub,
awkward
we put right in
because
the middle.
it's
So
kind of
it
like
could be for
this.
2 people.
To step into it,
Yeah.
At
Seems
one
like-
end of the tub, we consider that a single person tub.
with bigger reach.
It looks more like a face washing thing
Yeah.
you have.
Showers, there's a lot of things to consider in a shower. From the door style, do we need it swinging? Do we want it bypass? Maybe as somebody mentioned earlier, we don't want a door. We want to minimize all of that. The door heights have really come a long ways, unlike this sort of standard height that's about 6 foot. Now we can, or 72 inches. They do make taller ones that are 78. So for taller people, it's not quite as potential head bumper. Thinking about what's the amount of space we need. Is this a 2-person potentially in the
Yeah.
shower? Do we need, what other functions are going to happen in there? Do we want to think of a niche for soaps on toiletries? Do we want maybe a steam unit? Do we want a place to put our foot to shave our leg? Do we have, if it's on maybe a main level, we might want to think of aging in place so that if we became disabled or as we age, looking for those potential accidents at a threshold or tight spaces. And custom showers really mean you're kind of doing anything you want with size, of course, code allowing, and you can really have some fun from customizing all those details. Skylights, shower pans. One thing to think about with showers is there's the curbless, which is always going to be tile in, so it's going to be very flush from inside to outside the tub. We can have a mud set or tile pan that does have a threshold, and then we can have a precast pan, which is what you see in this picture, but you're at the mercy of either what a manufacturer has available. There are a few brands that will make custom acrylic or these fiberglass custom shapes as well. So if you had a unique shape or unique size, that is an option as well to consider. And really thinking about all of the functions and sizes and what do we want that shower experience to be. And as I mentioned, curbless, where the levels are the same. They're great. They do take a little bit of extra cost to implement, however, because you have to be thinking of a couple things. Because we have a flush threshold and that shower pan, even under the tile, there is a pan system that we have to get below the floor height that will become adjacent to adjacent rooms outside of the bathroom. So we don't want you to have to step up into a room to get into a curbless shower. There's also, to get to that done, you have to have framing, which can add some cost, and not every bathroom is a candidate for that. And basically, from a tile perspective, city code says then that this whole bathroom has to be treated as a shower pan. So there's additional cost involved with that as well.
The whole floor
They
has
look
to be
great, but
shower pan,
consider those.
so it's got to be waterproof.
Right.
Shower
If it's curbless.
systems,
If you put like
you
a
can
little
really
lip on
just
it,
have
you
a
just step
full
into that.
functioning car wash if you wanted in your shower.
Oh, look at that car
There's
wash one.
lots of
The what?
just so many
Oh,
things
the
to
top
think
one?
about. Body sprays,
Top right.
steam
Yeah.
showers. What is the shower head? Most shower heads are kind of interchangeable. You can screw off and change out pretty easily. But the valves and turning off and on, how many functions do you want to be able to happen at one time? For example, if you had a shower with 2 shower heads, do we want them both to be fully operational on their own at one time? Or do we want maybe one primary and then the other one that would have a diverter so you can choose which one you want to use? We are seeing a lot of times, especially in a larger shower, doing at least 2, one on an arm. So for example, this hose is then mounted there for the free stand or the free moving shower head, and then the fixed head is up on the wall. But we also have body sprays, and we really get into customizing those details as well for body sprays. If you think about it, again, going into the size of the client, the heights, we do kind of measure you. Where do you want those body sprays to hit? If we've got
You have a file over there too.
height clients with different heights, we might need to think about how do we design for different users. And so fixtures and fittings, there's just so many styles. There's in the world of faucets, you can have the seen up on the middle top, the two handle, 4 and 8 inch spread. You can also have single lever. Single lever is more popular and recommended for aging in place. If you think about if you were leaning up against a countertop and only have the use in one hand, having a single control of volume and temperature in one motion is easier. And then bath fillers can be freestanding, like we see here in the middle picture, where they're just kind of a sculptural element next to the tub. And then we can have units that kind of reach into the tub, a little more traditional, and they usually come with the filling, volume and temperature control, and kind of a shower head of some kind to clean it and fill it that way. These both can do both. And then in showers, this bathroom here on the right was actually for a woman in a wheelchair, but it doesn't look, like a care center or anything. It's just a gorgeous bathroom with these very nice shower heads at different heights. The one on the left is designed for lower, so when somebody is sitting on that bench seat right there, it's more easily reachable. And then the other shower head, also on a handheld, but it's placed a little bit higher for a person in standing position to shower. And then we have the linear drain along the side of the shower.
See that
The
drain?
nice thing about linear drains is you can see they
See on the
kind of
side?
can blend in
Right.
with the tile. There's lots of styles
Yeah.
that you get to choose from. But they allow you to do a larger format tile on the floor. So if you do what we call a single point drain, where maybe it's just a round or square about 3 to 4 inches in diameter, you can't have anything bigger than about a 4-inch tile on the floor. A linear drain, you can do a larger format because that whole area is sloping towards a wider drain system.
That's cool.
Because it slopes that
Lighting
way.
is a
Right.
really
If you're gonna slope to the
important,
middle,
but
Yeah,
sadly
you have
often
to have smaller
overlooked
tiles to be able
element
to
in
have a
bathroom
flat
design.
surface.
that's
We
cool.
want to, the first thing we see in the morning, we want to feel our best and, we have an accurate view of ourselves, maybe if we're
That would
wearing
be kinda like
makeup
ours.
or,
You do
be able to
vanity
recognize if we
tub
look,
and then
gaunt or
the showers off to the
yellow.
right.
So keeping natural light as maximized as possible is really important. Thinking of general lighting, so what is that ambient light throughout the room? Maybe it's, just we want, and especially as we age, our lighting, the cones in our eyes makes lighting harder for us. And so thinking of contrasting materials, reflectivity,
Amen
all
to
of
that.
and how that relates to lighting. Also task
What?
lighting, so maybe we
Cones.
have a illuminated,
Things looking dark grayer,
magnifying mirror that we
needing
can
more light.
bring up close to our face. Maybe we have toe kick lighting that is on a motion sensor, so at night when we come into the bathroom, we it just automatically turns on, but it's much softer. It doesn't break up as much your circadian rhythms of sleep and getting back to sleep once you've gone into the bathroom. And thinking of light reflectance and how are the different light elements, whether that's skylights, natural or electrical light, how are all of those surfaces interplaying with that? So definitely something that I spend a lot of time with my clients thinking about, discussing, especially in a vanity mirror in a bathroom. There's different ways to think about, is that illumination around our face? That's kind of the ideal. If you have a lot of upper light coming down, it can often cast shadows. What is the distance out from the wall? And giving us lighting flexibility. And lighting also, not all lights can be put in a bathroom. They do need to be, if they're in a shower or above a tub, they do need to be wet rated and have a bathroom rating. We have, again, the general lighting of the general illumination of the space. In this particular bathroom, there's kind of task lighting above and below the vanity mirror and kind of illuminating that edge, the backsplash. And then we've got the task lighting along the toe kick. there's can lights in here for more of an ambient overall illumination. So if you really needed a brighter light, say you're putting on some makeup or doing, something that you're looking up close, you're probably going to need a higher light level than you would for just say, getting ready for bed at night and having a softer light level. Ventilation is really important in our overall home. And as we've all kind of learned this last year living in COVID, can really be also a way to think of health and, air turnover and really just the home overall health of the space. So you can do bathroom fans on a timer, which is required by code. You can also do fans on a motion sensor or humidity sensing. So I like to do humidity sensing fans even if I had, say, a walk-in closet right next to a bathroom. I would put a ventilation fan in that closet as well, just because of things like shoes, dirty clothes, maybe if you're working out, the damp clothes that sit in there. All of those things are creating, and not to mention cleansers, all the cleaning products we use. If you have pets, the recommendation by ASHRAE, the organization that regulates all of the indoor air quality and mechanical systems, recommends that the average home has about a 3 to 4 full turnover of air throughout a house. So anything we can do to help that, especially when they say a couple things that have changed in the last, say, 30 years. In 1970, the average American spent 70% of their life in their indoor environments. Today, that's up to 95% of our life. So we are spending a lot of time on indoors space, breathing that, and we want to make sure that air is fresh as it can be and as clean. And we're not opening windows as much. A lot of times for safety, we just don't open those windows to bring in that fresh air. So the more ventilation system, and this is where it gets into the science of looking at the home as a whole system is something that your Neil Kelly designer really will look at. Added features can be some fun ways to just have those luxurious elements, from heated floors. Heated floors are also a great way to make you feel more warm with less energy use. So instead of heating the ambient room air, you heat yourself thermally by coming up through your feet. So, and those can be on a timer. So let's say you get up every morning at 6 o'clock, the heated floors can be on a timer where they come on before, and by the time you walk into the bathroom, they're going to be turned on. We can do them on even in showers, on say a shower seat, bench, medicine cabinets. Roburn has some amazing medicine cabinets out there that are just, can do everything from great storage, lighting, phone docking station, mini TV, you name it. So if you gotta know the sports game while you're shaving, you can see that. And then magnifying mirrors and lit vanity mirrors. Accessibility and universal design. We tend to think of this as only something that either affects us as we age or if we have some sort of debilitating disease. But it is often important to remember that 85% of home injuries happen in a bathroom. So we want to think about safety paramount when designing a bathroom. But we also, what I tell clients is it's good to think about a bathroom and aging in place or universal design, because if you've ever broken your leg or, had to be with a cast on your arm for a while, you see the built environment very differently. So these don't always have to be just to those, big life changes. This was a bathroom that was designed for a woman who had recently been diagnosed with a debilitating disease, and she wanted to make it get ready for her as her disease became advanced. But it doesn't look institutional. It looks gorgeous, but it does allow her as her life changes. So you'll notice we've got ample lighting. We have flexibility in that lighting. So we have the toe kick lighting, we have lighting at the vanity, we have some natural light, and then there's also ceiling lighting that is providing kind of that general ambient light. We have a handheld shower, so it's on an arm. It can be at different heights of use. There's the grab bars conveniently located. And in this particular case, the grab bar functions as a hanging element to move that seat. So it's flexible as well. So you could have it on the left or you could have it on the other side of the bar on the right. So eventually if she needed a care aid to help her bathe, we've built in some flexibility. And then we have the curbless shower, and that way eventually when she's in a wheelchair, she could go in there easily. We have easy grip hardware at the sink, allowing for single hand use. And here you can see at the vanity, it's like, well, why would there be two different heights? Well, in this case, the husband was fairly tall. He wanted a more typical 36-inch countertop. And the fold-down grab bar to the left of the vanity, we wanted it actually tilts up, so you don't have to have it always down unless you need it. Chair height on the toilet allows for it to be a comfortable, not a huge drop when going to sit down. And then the night lighting feature, again, as I kind of already mentioned, it's just a softer light level. It's on a motion sensor, so it comes on at night when somebody walks into the space and not a big, bright flush of light. And then we've lowered the sink that's her side of the vanity, and we've actually started, again, planning for later. So in this particular case, at some point when she does need to be in a wheelchair, that vessel sink can be removed and an undermount or drop-in sink can be put there for her to use. It would be lower, and we can change out the faucet. We've put the faucet a little bit closer to the front edge of the countertop, and the door panels are also removable, so she can wheel right up to that. And one thing that's kind of helpful in thinking about a bathroom remodel is what type of project is it? We find that we've broken it down to 3 helpful labels: cosmetic, pull and replace, and custom. A cosmetic is where you're just kind of maybe refreshing a few elements. In this particular bathroom, we did some new flooring, we painted the existing cabinets, we did a new counter and backsplash, new sink and faucet, we did some new accessories like the mirror, the lighting, the hand towel, and a new shower door, and then the tile in the shower. But really it was kind of nothing moved, changed locations. We didn't take out a vanity, we didn't do a new toilet or anything like rough in. So it kept the budget more modest, and this was a newer home. It was a perfect candidate for that. The next one is called pull and replace. So again, can have less or greater than this as needed by bathroom. They did do a new tub. They took out the old built-in tub and did a freestanding to give the illusion and kind of more space and just kind of more of a sculptural element. There is a separate shower, not seen in this photograph, that had a new
it looks kind
glass
of weird. It looks like it's almost a built-in, but it's not.
And
I mean,
heated
it's
tile
not the
floors.
design I would pick.
The existing cabinets were not working anymore for them, so we did do a new vanity and countertop and all of that, but nothing really changed major locations of anything. And then fully custom is where you really want to maybe rethink the entire space. Maybe we're going to pull part of the adjacent office room or a bedroom that's no longer used to kind of get that large walk-in closet experience or large walk-in shower. All of those elements can really just kind of get rethought. Now, obviously, a lot more work. They're usually bigger in size and often will incorporate framing, maybe a new window, siding, etc. So the cost on a fully custom
blind they have
kind
in
of,
that window.
rethinking everything is going to be substantially more expensive than the first 2 models.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to break
All
for
right.
Q&A.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Therese. Man, just what a ton of detail we have here, and we've had some good questions coming in as well. There was a question about pressure balance valves or shower valves, and I'll just take that really quick. There are many different types of shower valves available, from simple pressure balance to digital shower valves. But the main two types that we look at are pressure balanced and thermostatic. So pretty much any shower valve that we put in nowadays, even the less expensive ones, are going to be at least pressure balanced. And what that means is it's going to moderate the temperature by controlling the pressure. So if a toilet flushes or laundry happens, so you won't get scalded in the shower. If you're looking for a little more control and you want to keep the pressure consistent, then you're looking at a thermostatic valve. And a thermostatic valve will let you control both the pressure and the temperature. So you can set the temperature that you want for the shower, and then you can control the pressure separately. So we have a lot more to get through here. I know we're about 11 o'clock. We're going to try to wrap up as close to 11:30 as we can. And we have several case studies to walk you through. So we will just go ahead and continue on with the case studies. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, so we're first going to look at this, what we're titling an elegant magnolia bath. This was a Tudor home that we couldn't expand the footprint at all, and so some of the priorities were we couldn't, or limitations I should say, we couldn't also touch the window either. There's historic reasons on the outside of the house. Storage, the pedestal sink just wasn't working anymore. The tile was pretty outdated. The toilet is not very private, and this old tub with the hanging curtain rod was just getting dirty and felt like it really closed off the space. The lighting was really bad, and they didn't use a tub, so a bathtub was not a necessity for them. Next slide. Here you can see they did have a little bit of a storage closet, pictured it on the right.
It's horrible tile.
And that was pretty much where they had to set everything. And every time they needed it, they'd pull it out, put it on that little rim of the pedestal sink, and then put everything back. So not functioning real well for them and how they were using the space. So here you can see the floor plan, kind of a nice aerial view of what we're looking at. Notice the sink there, the pedestal sink, the toilet up on the upper left, and then the tub directly across. And just keep your eye on that closet. That's that shortened small closet that they were using. And there's a hall closet right above it. So we stole a little bit of room. Thank you. You can go to the next slide. We stole a little bit of space out of the back of that closet, allowing for us to have a really nice sized shower, a bench in there, and still maintain some storage that we made a little bit deeper. And the vanity, we now have a nice long wide vanity with a single sink, and we even did a little half wall between the toilet and the shower for some privacy. Here you can see that storage cabinet that the client kind of liked, this sort of black white idea. By putting the mirror on this vanity, it really kind of opens up that space. It doesn't make it, feel quite so just small and enclosed, and also is functional. You want to check have a nice mirror that you can go up to really close without bending over a vanity. And then we've got some rope hooks. We have the curbless shower that we're starting to peek into there. Next slide. Here you can see nice curbless shower. We've got one window in this space, and so even though we have a half wall at the toilet, we did a frosted glass between the shower and the water closet or toilet. That way we still get that natural light into the shower. Notice the valves for the shower are kind of over on the left, so you could walk in, turn on the valves, and not be getting in the direct spray area of the rain head, or there's a handheld there as well. You can kind of see it in that tile, the black and white tile. And nice clear full frameless glass shower door that we took up all the way to the ceiling so that we kept the warmth of all that steam in that shower. It's not a quote steam shower, but it's not going to have a lot of heat loss and maintain that. That's a personal choice. For some clients, they're going to want some of that air to be able to escape. Again, just a personal design decision. Next slide. And then here you can see a detail of a floating bench in the shower, a niche, and just kind of some nice details of real similar palette of these sort of grays and whites, but broken up by
Having the little
slight
niche where you
scale
put the stuff
and
is nice.
texture and some nice border details.
Those are
Yes.
easy.
We definitely
And
need
here
that.
you can see kind of a nice view of the handheld, the valve, and that rain head over top. And this client really wanted the vanity to not really look like your typical vanity, but read more like a piece of furniture. And so these nice decorative feet, the wall-mounted faucet, and the way it projects into the sink is kind of a nice sculptural element. And then the soft, more horizontal plane, a little bit lower, closer to the face for the lighting there. Okay, the Andover bath. Next slide. So this bathroom, the clients had done a remodel about 10 years ago. There was some things that they did not like about it, but there was, it wasn't all going to be thrown out. Some of their priorities were a larger shower. The vanity itself was fine. They said, we actually like the vanity. It works. It functions. The cabinets are in great shape. Maybe we could reuse those. And then the shower was pretty small. They really wanted it to feel larger, maybe even accommodate 2 people. And then they had this big drop-in tub that took up a lot of space. And then a wall separating the toilet from the tub, but it felt a little high for what they wanted. They wanted some separation, but they didn't need it to be as tall as it was. So here we did a new half wall that was a little bit lower. We made the tub a freestanding tub, so it just feels like more open. And the tub filler is on the backside, kind of a freestanding. And then we just did a glass enclosure encapsulating the shower area, but again, curbless. So all the tile in the bathroom is continuous. And that just allowed us to steal a few extra inches, making that shower a little bit bigger. And then, keep going, the vanity, again, we reused that, but did do a new countertop and sinks and faucets, etc. So here you can see the before. The height of that half wall just felt awkward to them. The tub basically was just a giant collector of towels and stuff sitting around the edge, and the soap and everything kind of collecting on that little seat that they didn't really use as a bench necessarily, and it felt tight to them, and the tile was pretty outdated. Just kind of looking again at that shower with the curb kind of running from the shower enclosure, the tub base into the shower enclosure. And then this is the vanity before. So looking at the vanity cabinets, they were in great shape, nothing wrong with them. Clients liked them. They also really wanted more color. The palette in this felt really just kind of somber and gray and dark. And so improving lighting and giving it a little bit more splash of color were also a priority. And then the after, here we have the after. So great example of, there's lots of tile on the walls, some of it's texture, but we break up the texture a little bit by the plane. So even though we all have a monochromatic on the walls, it's just so lovely with the textural change, really accenting all of those wall surfaces and brightening that whole space up with the elements of the white, the big sculptural tub,
it's a really funny
the lighter
shaped tub.
floor tile, and then the lighter countertops. And then instead of vanity lighting separate, we got vanity mirrors that integrated the lighting to those. And Here you can see the half wall, wrapping that in tile, so it just feels a little bit better when you're sitting there on the toilet. And we kept the existing window. We didn't need to change that out. It was already a fine, functioning well. And we did add some new can lighting as well to improve the ambient lighting in there. And then we did the floor on a heat timer. And you'll notice the toe kick at the vanity, we ended up putting tile there instead of the wood. Couple reasons for that. One, it's a bathroom, so if water got to it, it wasn't going to get that wood wet. It also kind of gives the illusion that the vanity is floating now. So a minor improvement, but just kind of a subtle design
Like
detail
today's
that
board
really
area,
helped
you know,
kind of give it some new life. Here you can see
I
the
like that
outlets
countertop.
and the
Yeah.
nice detail of those
I feel like it
vanity
doesn't go with
mirrors
anything.
and the faucets and the sink and the granite countertop that they selected. And here's that shower, linear drain. We have a storage niche along the left,
Yeah,
and
drains
the
in the
bottom
back,
of that
see?
is actually
Yeah.
the perfect height to act as a toe niche for shaving. And the Bellevue primary.
All right, so we've got the Bellevue primary bath. Hello, everyone, again. So jumping into the before as-built floor plan, we've got a linen closet, we've got a wall separating the vanity and the shower, we've got the window over there on the right. The client's needs, they really wanted it to feel more open, less cluttered, and just a better creative use of space. The water closet there was a little tight, and we'll get to that on the next slide. And then here, as far as the tub goes, they never used this tub. I know there's been some questions. Do you need a tub in a home? Do you not? Specifically for these clients, they never used it. And they were staying here for a while, so they wanted to eliminate the tub. As far as the vanity goes, it was pretty out of date and just not a lot of storage there. They had quite a bit of clutter that was accumulating on that countertop. So here we have the new floor plan. We opened up some walls. Over at the linen closet, you can see that there's now a tall cabinet, and by eliminating that wall, we actually gained that wall space into the new floor plan. Over in the shower area, that window, by opening up that wall, we have two half walls now, allowing that window, that natural light to flow into the main space of the bathroom. We actually eliminated the other window where that shower valve is up on the top, but there's still plenty of light transferring into space. As far as the water closet goes, so we really just shifted the wall a little bit up, and it allowed that door screen to enter the space and not feel like you're being encroached on. You're going to use the toilet. The shower, so where that tub was, is now a nice big shower. The clients prefer to have a shower where two people can fit, so we achieved that goal there. At the vanity, you can see that this is now a much wider vanity. There's lots of creative storage, and we'll see in the photos coming up how we design that space. So we've got a before image here. You can see that a lot of clutter was accumulating on the countertops, just not a lot of creative storage space as far as the cabinetry goes.
Looks like the same size we have.
You can see that small shower connected to that tub deck, and that wall on the left there was really not allowing that natural light from both those windows to transfer as much as it really could. Another view here, seeing how that wall is blocking the window that you don't see on the left, and then partially that other window there. And again, just outdated and lots of clutter. Here, so we've got the new and improved layout design here. One thing, again, I love with this design is just the level of contrast. We used a dark stain cabinetry here, herringbone pattern for the tile. And you can see that window now is a different function. It's been decreased in height. You still get that just lovely natural light coming through. And we have those half walls there. kind of flanking that shower door as well. As far as the vanity goes, so we've
I don't know if I like
basically
the
split the
cabinet
mirror
like that.
where there's two, one at each sink. And then we have a vanity topper that kind of leaves in the middle to basically take all of that stuff that was on the countertop, creating all of that clutter and hiding it behind the stuff. And there's actually an outlet inside that cabinet as well. Some really cool creative storage solutions here. In that tall cabinet that was on the left of the vanity, we have a tilt down storage solution for laundry. And then we've got a couple pull-outs there with electrical. That way you can have your hair dryer, anything that you want to store, pull out with really ease of access. And when it's closed, nothing will be on the counter. Another view here, just looking at the overall aesthetic of the space. And you can just see how well lit it is. Doesn't feel outdated in your point. Another view there, you can see kind of the function of the door, just that really nice tile. And here, instead of doing the whole shower in the same color tile, a nice use of using contrast in the color. We got a recess niche there as well. Here, and handheld with a different valve. So when you're sitting on that bench, use that valve and grab that handle. Some nice close-up detail shots of the tile transitions. We've got that curbless shower Therese was mentioning in detail
That's pretty
before.
popular.
And then you've got just a really
curved.
nice detail of the bench with the bench top. I think that, when we're designing and thinking of all the tile pieces coming together, this is a really good example of the level of detail that Neil Kelly strives for. Another close-up of a valve. And bringing it together. Matt.
All right. Thank you, Rob and Therese. Just really great information. So just to bring it all together, so again, we are a full-service design build remodeling contractor, and so that we're going to be able to handle everything from discovery to design and planning, construction, and then years of service afterwards. So we actually have one of the longest running warranties. We actually have a 2-year limited 5-year or 2-year full and 5-year limited warranty. So ask your design professional about that when you meet with us. And then the other thing about working with Neil Kelly Company, go ahead, next slide, is just all the different benefits that you'll have, from an expert design team to working with our vetted, experienced trade partners. You get a defined schedule, a fixed price, and an organized project. So one of our goals is to make sure that not only you're going to be highly satisfied, but we're going to complete your project on time and within budget. Go ahead, next. So it's very important to us that we have highly satisfied clients, and please feel free to check us out either on Houzz, Google. A lot of our individual design consultants will have their own Houzz profiles, so you can look up, Therese or Rob or myself, and you can see example projects that they have done and what sort of things that their clients are saying about them. And moving on. Okay, so final Q&A. So it doesn't look like we have a ton of questions left. We will just hang out here for a few minutes and see if questions come in, and we'll answer those over the next several minutes. I do want to remind you that you'll be getting an email from us. And in that email, there's a little bit of a toolkit talking about how to go about remodeling your bathroom. You are welcome to sign up for a virtual consultation or free in-home consultation with one of our designers. Whether you're in the Eugene, the Portland, the Seattle, or the Bend market, please do reach out to us. We'd love to talk with you. And if you have specific questions regarding your own bathroom, we'd love to talk to you about those. So anything else to add, Rob or Therese?
I don't think so. Thank you, everybody, for attending. It looks like we do have a couple questions, Matt.
Oh, here they are. Yeah. So what do we think about walk-in tubs? Would anybody like to take that one?
Walk-in. Oh, the door ones.
Well, I'll take it. I've only done one in 20 years, and the thing to consider is, from a resale perspective, they are not super desirable. So, and they're pretty expensive actually. So, if you were somebody that was gonna, just had to have it to live in a house, we want to, we could certainly do that. But I think for most people, they end up being a big investment and so specific, they just don't justify it.
I agree, and I've also done a couple of them. So there's two things you really got to think about if you want to walk in tub. And like Therese said, for some people, they're great, especially if you really need a bathing experience and you're not maybe as mobile. But you got to think about how long is that tub going to take to fill?
Yeah.
Okay, because you got to get in the tub, and then you have to shut the door, and you have to
Right.
wait for it to fill. That could be 7 to 8 minutes or more, depending on the filler that you have in your water pressure. Then, when you're finished bathing, you actually have to wait for that tub to drain. Again, depending on the draining capabilities, could be 7 or 8 minutes sitting in that tub waiting for it to drain. So if you kind of thought through those sorts of things, and it still sounds like it's something you'd want, then it might be a good idea to pursue. But if you're not into sitting in the tub waiting for it to fill or drain, then it's probably not the right choice for you.
Yeah, and that you actually brought up a good point for people considering a large soaking tub of some kind or tub. You really want to. One of the things we look at is your water heater able to take that on? So
Right.
an on-demand water heater is a great option because you never run out of hot water. But is that something that's in your budget? Is to be putting all that hot water into something?
Yeah, good. So, Rob, maybe you could take this one. We have a question about, do we do master planning? So if they're going to do a kitchen in the future or an addition, they're looking at a bathroom now. How do we handle that?
Yeah, absolutely. That question came in from Jessica. Thanks for the question. So the way that we would tackle that, essentially, we could do a feasibility study and really just look at the whole house as, one big project. But then moving forward, maybe we're breaking that project up into different phases. And maybe, if you're living in the home, maybe we're doing the bathroom first and then doing the kitchen after. But really that feasibility study is super helpful to kind of see the project as a whole, but then we can definitely break it into different phases.
Very good. So we do have some questions that came up about cost, and I did send a link to a cost versus value report to a couple of people. So finding costs on remodeling projects is one of the most difficult things to do. And frankly, there just isn't great cost information out there. The cost versus value report gets about as close as we can, but it used to be much closer, but we're in a market currently, just honestly, where the cost versus value report has not kept up with the escalating cost that we're seeing in the marketplace. And then the other thing that we're seeing is with real estate values really going up and up. What the cost versus value report does is it tells you what you can achieve in resale if you were to do that project. So the cost versus value report has not caught up to that data yet. But just to give you some really rough guidelines, we had 3 different types of remodels that Therese talked about, from a spiff to a pull and replace to a custom. And in that spiff range, where you're just dealing with refinishing, you could be looking in the 20 to 40, even 50,000 range. Now this is given a full bathroom. In that pull and replace, it might be starting more in the 40 and then going up to 60 or 80, and then really custom bathrooms. It's not uncommon for those to be 80 to over 100. So I know that some of those numbers can be a little bit surprising, but just to give you some really honest data about what we're seeing. But please do check out the cost versus value report if you'd like additional information on those. Any other questions here you guys see? Oh, I see. Bonnie, you're reaching out to us. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you on the line. We're remodeling her kitchen, so they've been great.
There's one question by Leslie. It says, if I wanted to get started, how far out are you for installations?
Mm-hmm.
So I can speak to the Portland market, and I think this is probably fairly similar in Seattle, Bend, and Eugene. We can usually get a first appointment out within the within 2 weeks. The design process, it kind of depends on the size of the job and the complexity, but I would say generally about 4 weeks to say 12 weeks, again, depending on the complexity of what we're doing. Construction, we're starting jobs right now, and depending on permits. So if you're doing a full custom bathroom, the permitting is kind of our biggest hold up at the time. Portland right now, it can take a couple months to get a permit.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, we're starting remodels within about 8 to 10 weeks after a contract is signed.
Very good. All right, I think we will just wrap it up there. We will leave the Q&A on for a few minutes and go ahead and type, get answers typed. Go ahead.
Can I just take one question?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It says, can the homeowner do some of the work to reduce costs? Yes. Some of the easy ones are like non-structural demo, painting. So we do absolutely, work with clients on some of those phases for sure.
Very good. Thank you so much. Again, everybody, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for spending part of your Saturday with us. If you'd like to reach out to one of the designers either here on the screen or one of the designers in one of our offices, you'll have an opportunity to do that with the email that's going to send out, and you can just reach out to us. So thanks again, and have a great Saturday.
Thank